1, 2, 3, 4.
Bust.
And we're on Inside the SHOKhouz. BSB,
SHOKhouz.
Big Shot Bob Robertson, D Mods, Joe, the mouth of the South Bombo. What's happening? We got a great show on tap. Jimmy Graham gets paid. Congratulations. And more free agency talk. But
Gotta love that free agency talk.
gotta start with the biggest free agent of them all, Mr. LeBron James. 2 years, $42 million with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, Joe, as a Miami Heat fan, I'll let you get a chance to express your thoughts for LeBron, good or bad. Just get it off your chest.
As a Heat fan, I mean, we have a great consolation prize. So, you know, when I look at that, it really doesn't affect me too much. It's a good story, and as far as looking at it from a basketball standpoint, that's really the only way I can look at it. LeBron James deserved to go back home, man. He deserved to right his wrongs, and that's how you got to look at it. He came to Miami. He played well. They went to 4 straight finals. You can't argue with that, and no one can say that what they did what they brought to Miami wasn't a success. First of all, he won 2 championships, and the letter he put out the SI is just class personified. And with that said, you can't condemn a man for going back to his home state. I wish him best of luck.
Yeah, and the essay was smart because you don't want the debacle or the decision again. But who's to blame that in Miami for him not staying? Is there any blame that should be spread around here, or what do you think?
See, this is what I feel. Even if they were to win the championship this year against San Antonio, I feel like he would have left. And I don't really think you could place any blame on anyone, because the situation he had in Miami, even if they lost, seeing that they lost, him coming back, they were still going to be in a position to keep building and keep contending. Mm-hmm. So I don't believe it was so much of the opportunity or what was going on, because you even see when he left, there was no ill will. Everyone had good things to say. It's just the fact he wanted to go home.
I mean, people are smart. You know, they're not going to say anything in the public. But do you think maybe Pat Riley's statement, the Heat not getting Kyle Lowry and Martin Gortat in there, helped push him back to Cleveland?
I believe maybe the Pat Riley calling him out could have put him on edge and put him on notice of what he had at home. But I really don't think any of that had to do with it. I think the guy just wanted to go home.
Let me play devil's advocate. Say LeBron James was sitting at home. He's looking at the landscape. There's no team that he could go to right now that you could say really could compete with San Antonio.
Yeah.
And the deal is for 2 years with an option to opt out of the next season. And we all know he wants to play with Carmelo Anthony. So take the 2-year deal, go home, have his third child, make Savannah happy, let the child be born, let her get off the pregnancy hormones, and then say, okay, I'm going to opt out because I really want to play with Carmelo and go to New York next season. Do you believe there's any chance that could happen?
I don't believe so. If that would have been a possibility, they would have stayed in Miami. And the fact that you say about making his wife happy, honestly, she wanted to stay in Miami. Of course, she missed home, but from what the reports say, her and his mom really didn't want to go back to Cleveland and go back to that organization, especially after the things that Gilbert had said and how they burned his jersey. They were kind of skeptical. So from what the report's saying, at the end it came down to LeBron's decision. Savannah wouldn't mind to stay in Miami. She's got a smoothie shop down there that she just started up, and that's been going well from what they say. So she was kind of established there. Of course, you could take that franchise or whatsoever and take it to Cleveland, but you're not going to be able to sell smoothies in Northeast Ohio like you can sell them in Miami. That's for sure.
That's for damn sure.
So with all that said, I think it was just LeBron being the guy that he is. And this is why I take into it. LeBron is smart. How he said that he wants kids to come back and build their own businesses and such. LeBron wants to be that millionaire, that billionaire, just like Michael Jordan. He wants to own the team. And I feel everything he's doing is setting up to take Dan Gilbert's spot or whoever's going to be in that organization in about 20, 30 years. He's come back with the new coach. He's going to be part of this roster shakeup or whatsoever. He's going to have say-so in everything that goes down. When the 2-year deal's up, he's going to be getting a lot more money. They're talking up to $28,000, $29,000.
That new TV deal is going to be amazing for the NBA.
So with all that said, I think he's just setting himself up to financially build and to guide this team, restore his legacy, and eventually be the mayor in Cleveland. You know,
he's already the king. Why don't we just add the mayorship as well?
I'm just saying he's going to really lock down that king row and be the king of that city by the time he's Michael Jordan's age 50.
Who are your other free agent winners?
Whoa. I really do like Washington Wizards locking back up Martin Gortat and bringing in Paul Pierce.
That was a huge move.
That was a big move. When we talked earlier, I said that the Wizards were possibly 2 years away. This could put them right in the Eastern Conference Finals this year.
Absolutely. The East is wide open, too, without Miami having the big three. We know Miami's still going to win 45, 50 games.
Yeah. If Wade stays decently healthy.
They should. And New York getting Melo back was huge.
Yeah.
The Bulls signing Pau Gasol was a huge move, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're going to do with Carlos Boozer. It looks like he's going to get the amnesty deal because they got to find that money to sign Gasol. But the Bulls and Doug McDermott has looked like a monster out there in
he
the
looked
summer
like he's
league.
Still back on Creighton courts back there.
Give me the ball. I'm wide open. I'll knock it down for you.
And it's so ironic is that the two teams that was playing when he went off on that game was Denver and Chicago. And Gary Harris went off for 33 points in that same game. And
so the trade looks like
for each other.
It looks like it's working out for both teams right now.
Hey, it really did work out for them. But I think Washington made some good moves. Overall, a lot of the moves were made seem really sound. Dallas picking up Chandler Parsons, that seems to be pretty solid. I even like Ariza going to Houston. That was a pretty good move. But the fact that they didn't want to bring Ariza back just shows you that they have a little bit more. They're trying to win now.
Yeah.
They're not trying to just be relevant. They're really trying to win. And with Pierce being in there, I think they're going to be right there in the discussion.
And I mean, Ariza's a good player. He's a good long range shooter. But Chandler Parsons could get his off the dribble. He was a better passer than Ariza. So I don't understand Houston. Houston, I feel like, is a loser because they didn't get Chris Bosh. Mm-hmm. You traded away Jeremy Lin. You traded away Omar Asik. You claimed at midseason that Chandler Parsons was not on the table when you had a chance to get Rajon Rondo in there, but you let Chandler Parsons go for nothing. So I think Houston took a couple steps back, man.
Yeah, well, there's talks out that apparently to Stephen A. Smith that there is a possibility of Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City and possibly following the trend of all these guys seem to be going back home, taking his talents back to the capital city. In a statement, Stephen A. Smith has stated, "I don't think anybody, to be quite honest with you," Smith said, "obviously the New York Knicks would be in the mix and would have to, but there are folks out there that's speaking relatively close to Kevin Durant saying that if he's to leave Oklahoma City, that he would be headed to the nation's capital." It seems like he would want to go back to home. I don't know. I just see that in Durant. Durant seems to be the close-knit guy, but he has a tie to that Oklahoma City region. And with the Hurricanes and all that stuff and how when he won the MVP, he kind of came out, I don't know if he could leave that. But one of those guys is going to have to shake.
I mean, but if you listen to Kevin Durant, he loves Russell Westbrook. I don't know if Oklahoma City could say, okay, Kevin, we want to move Russell. Would you be okay with that? Kevin is going to say, hell no. He doesn't want to lose Russell Westbrook.
And sometimes you just got to realize it is what it is. Like, look at the point, like, when they're on the court together, of course they do average. They average one of the highest averages between two teammates in the league, but it doesn't add up to wins.
You know, Kevin Durant's PER rating in the fourth quarter was 81st, ranked 81st. Out of 101 players in the NBA.
81st.
And PER for the common folk out there, player efficiency rating. Jimmy Graham, new 4-year, $40 million deal with $21 million guaranteed. Was this a good deal for Jimmy Graham and the New Orleans Saints?
I think it is what it is. You know, the deal was going to get done. It's a good thing that they finally got the deal done. That was the main thing.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't want this lingering over your organization or your team going into the mini camps. So, actually training camps. So this is the best thing to get done. So either way, it's better than $7 million that he was getting in the franchise tag.
Way better.
You know, and a lot better than the $4 million or so Graham had earned in the 4 NFL seasons before that. So when you put all that in consideration, he got his money. And the main argument that I was having regarding Jimmy Graham going into this, when they franchise tagged him, when he was trying to get the receiver numbers, that's $4 million more. I believe the receiver number's 14. And I just feel like that's a little bit too high. But he got his money. So
he got his money.
Main thing.
I mean, Drew Brees had 39 passing touchdowns last year. Jimmy Graham had 16 of them. That's 41% of your passing touchdowns. So I know that Drew Brees is happier than Jimmy Graham right now.
Oh, yeah. I think Drew Brees had a lot to do with getting this contract wrapped up. He was a big advocate on getting Graham signed. But he knew the deal. This same organization are one of the classiest ones, and they take care of their players regardless of what anyone has to say. They do it in the way it's supposed to be done. As an organization, you got to make sure that all your bases are covered. You dot your I's and you cross your T's, and that's exactly what they did. They went throughout the process, and like I said before, I knew he was going to get signed.
Yeah.
We knew he was going to get signed. It's just a matter of time, and you got to be patient, you know, and let the course to take care of itself. And this is what happens, you know. You don't want to. The worst thing he could have done was kind of put the Saints out there and kind of burn his bridges. Well, he was starting to lean towards.
Yeah.
You know, and they stopped that. And that was a good thing about the organization. They got in there and they made it happen before it led to that, because you could see all the talks was coming up. Oh, Sean Payton was basically not on his side and taking a stand against Graham. You know, you start getting all these rumblings, these media creates this big snowball, and once that avalanche starts rolling, man, sometimes it's hard to stop, and you would hate to see him at Arrowhead Stadium.
And we know New Orleans is trying to stay out of the news. They just are getting their noses clean from the Sean Payton paying players to go hurt people incident. So, congratulations, Jimmy Graham and the New Orleans Saints. I mean, as a Panther fan, I would have loved to see you holding out, because we'd rather play the Saints without Jimmy Graham.
Hey, man, as a Buccaneers fan, I wouldn't mind too. All right. Well, Chris Cluey, the punter for the Minnesota Vikings, who had stated last year that he had been subject to harassment and hostility for speaking out in favor of gay marriages. And the team had made a promise that they would release the investigation into it. Well, now after the investigation is over, it seems they're starting to do a little Michael Jackson impersonation and moonwalking back off that statement. Apparently, what they learned in the investigation seemed a little bit more detrimental to the organization than they suspected. So I believe Chloe's going to be looking to file some kind of lawsuit or so. We'll see how that plays out. So what is your take on that?
I mean, I feel like the NFL is like the military, you know. How that saying goes?
What happens in what? Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell. You know, if they ask you about gay marriages, you know, no comment. You know how homophobic the NFL is. Even with the addition of Michael Sam, I mean, you saw it in Miami, 4 or 5 players come out immediately. Oh, I can't believe we got this gay guy playing in the league. So just don't say anything about it. And then Chris Cluey, just go away, man.
Seriously,
just go away. Leave this mess alone.
What is your purpose in this? Are you trying to get the special teams coach fired? Are you trying to get this organization fined? I mean, he played for him for over 7 years, so.
Right. And he had no problem accepting checks then.
You would think you would have some kind of loyalty. And I'm pretty sure this is the only instance that he's heard some kind of homosexual remarks within that organization or around his teammate. If he's not disrespecting you or your family or whatsoever you got going on, you just got to sometimes say, hey, some people are going to be like that, some people aren't. Everything doesn't need to be dragged down the court of law, and someone has to have a definite justice or before you determine anything else, you know. And it just seems
And who are we to say what's right and what's wrong? You know, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody has
one. And when it comes to sexuality and when it comes to homosexuality, that is a sensitive subject.
Absolutely.
And if you want to go off the Bible, you have your beliefs. If you want to just go off the human nature, you have your beliefs. And if you're one of the open-minded people that we have out here, you're going to have your beliefs. And who's to say who's right and who's wrong? So it's one of those slippery slopes that you don't ever want to go down.
And you don't want your name attached to it, especially trying to sue over it. All right, Bon Voyage time. It seems like I'm sitting up here every week talking about New York Yankees on my Bon Voyage list. I have to add Masahiro Tanaka. Has a slightly torn ligament in his throwing elbow. Might have to get Tommy John surgery to repair it. And I mean, I think they just overextended him and just had him throw his arm out. And then also bon voyage to Yadier Molina. The Cardinals catcher tore a ligament in his thumb. He's going to be out 8 to 12
that was crazy.
weeks.
Did you see how he tore it?
I didn't just saw it come across the crawl, and I was like, Yadier Molina, no.
He was sliding in the third base, and when he was sliding, he was bracing himself on the ground. Just, I guess, stretched his arm hand a little bit too far. Tore his ligaments. It's ridiculous. It's crazy how it happened, man. Just a simple baseball slide, you know.
Sports injuries come in all shapes and sizes and different forms. You just don't know where it's coming from.
Happen. That's the scary part about it, you know. The owner of the Browns, Jimmy Haslam, and his brother, I believe his name's Bill Haslam, they're both co-owners of the Flying J truck stop, where they had been accused of promising money to some people on a discount.
It says rebates and discounts.
Discounts. They promised money to some folks and never paid them. I guess they're trying to scheme them out of. But come to today, Flying J has paid $92 million to those that were involved in this scheme of some sorts. But it's not so much the $92 million that was paid out or the people that was involved. The biggest question that comes to me is these guys seem to find a way in a loophole to escape them being charged with any kind of wrongdoing, and they kind of pushed it off on the Flying J company or whatsoever, the people who were running inside that organization besides the owners. And this right there would kind of prevent them from being facing any discipline, or Jim Haslam, facing any discipline coming from the NFL. And it just smells real bad, and it makes you think, what is going on? You got guys being suspended left and right for performance-enhancing drugs, and you got your owners riding around with doping money, and then you got the other one in Northeast Ohio, or wherever you want to go, sitting here running Ponzi schemes and such, and they're just getting off like it isn't, like nothing happened. And I just think that's ridiculous. What do you feel about? How you feel about that, Bobby?
I mean, when you got money and power, people just don't like to mess with you. You know, the Haslams are a powerful family worth more than $3 billion. So what's $92 million to them? That's not even 10% of their net value assets. Yeah. The Cleveland Browns alone are worth $977 million. So $92 million, they're getting off dirt cheap. They're not facing any prison time or anything behind it. Just can go around lying to people, oh, yeah, we're going to give you discounts and rebates. We're going to take care of you. And then not pay you until somebody has to go to court and fight and waste time dealing with clowns that just renege on their promises, man. I'm sick of rich billionaires getting over on everybody.
If they're going to protect the shield, these type of things need to be stopped, because it seems like nowadays owners could kind of just go willy-nilly and do whatever they feel like doing, and they have no repercussions unless you kill somebody.
Again, we're putting the onus on Roger Goodell. When are you going to step up and set the precedent against the owners? You've done it against the players. Can we have, equilibrium on both sides of the field, please? Doc Rivers came out recently and said that the Clippers not having an owner has hurt them in free agency. He says most of the time when the coach goes in to talk to players, the owner is there expressing how great the team is and the franchise is, and Doc has had to go in there and talk to these free agents alone. I mean, they won with Spencer Hawes, but they didn't get the pieces they really wanted. Yeah. So, how do you feel? Do you feel Doc Rivers has a great point with that? And do you feel like the Clippers should, step away and just say, you know what, we're not even going to play. We're not even going to show up until y'all figure out this owner situation?
Honestly, when you look at this, our first thing comes to my mind, what did you expect? I mean, you have basically a bigot who's still getting paid off the Clippers, a guy that doesn't really respect the African-American race when half the team is African-American. The guys you're trying to bring in are African-American players for the most part. Mm-hmm. So what would you expect? I'm surprised a lot of the guys that are on that team haven't took the route to step out of that team. You see some of the guys that had the opportunity, they left, as in Granger. Mm-hmm. I don't know who else that was in that team.
Darren Collison signed in Sacramento.
Exactly. So the guys that have had the opportunity to get out of that organization, they have taken that route. You have your guys like Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, Jamal Crawford, who is still around, but they have to find a resolution for this. You can't keep dragging these guys in this organization through the mud while this jerk off sitting in court talking about how he's going to fight to the end of. What are they going to do if they can't get any free agents in there? You think there'll be anything? It's a Western Conference contender still? Or?
They'll still contend, but they didn't get enough to get them over the hump. I mean, they couldn't get Paul Pierce in. No. They couldn't make that deal swing. You lost your backup point guard, who was huge for you in one of those games against Oklahoma City that brought you back and helped you win. So I think the Clippers might have taken a step back too.
I just really feel that, I don't know, whatever's going on, they need to. It's going to take a while. And how much we want to say they need to find a resolution, we all know it's going to probably be a good process before it'll be December or so before this thing gets wrapped up, if not longer. And I just want to see what the players are going to do when it comes down to it, because it's one thing in life that you can't take away from anybody, and that's their pride and where they came from, And for anyone to want to play and let this guy gain any kind of cachet or any kind of money off of what he said and still on that team, I think it's ridiculous. Hopefully within this next month and a half, something will happen, but they got to get some kind of resolution in that organization. Seriously.
If I'm Steve Ballmer, I'm the most pissed off out of anybody. I'm like, y'all told me the team was for sale.
Yeah.
I made the highest bid. You told me I could buy the team, but now I can't buy the team. Mm-hmm. What is going on?
Yeah, it just seems to be a lot of hoopla. And Shelley Sterling and Donald Sterling seem to be right in the middle of this thing, and they're milking it. It seems to be like a domestic dispute, but I don't know if they might be working together
and behind the scenes.
Yeah, they might be working in concert in this thing and just trying to stretch it out as long as possible and keep their name relevant. But best of luck to them. Hopefully they stress out so much in the courthouse, both of them just fall over. Well, let's move on to this time of the year when it is mid-July, and right around the corner is August. And when August starts up, there's college football coming around the corner.
College football.
So with that said, who's your favorite team going into this year where we're going to finally have a Final Four? And what teams do you see coming out of it? Do you see Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, and Florida State making that cut? Or do you see a sleepier team falling in there?
I like Florida State out of the ACC because I know Clemson's going to take a step back because Clemson lost pretty much their entire offense. The SEC is a toss-up. Auburn still looks good. I don't know what's going to happen with Nick Marshall. He got charged for a small amount of marijuana last Friday and couldn't be at the SEC Media Day. But, the SEC, they're going to beat each other up.
Yeah.
LSU, Alabama, Auburn, A&M.
Yeah.
That's a toss-up there. And then the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is a lot better than what people are giving them credit for. Oregon, UCLA, Stanford. One of those teams could rise up and take this thing.
They have USC at number 13. That is the highest recruiting team ranking for the Pac-12. USC at 13. The next one will be Stanford at 16. So,
but Stanford is returning a lot of their players from last year. Same with Oregon. Marcus Mariota, who's probably going to be the number one pick, him or Jameis Winston. is coming back for Oregon, so their offense is going to be dynamite again. If I have a sleeper, though, is the Florida Gators.
I'm going to say LSU, Ohio State. Then I'm going to go down to Georgia. I'm going to pick Georgia out because I feel like they could possibly it's going to be an SEC Final Four. It's going to be one team to slide in there. But I was looking, I think Georgia could really make a push to be a better team this year.
So who do we have in the Final Four? I have Florida State. I'll put Auburn in there because I think Nick Marshall in that running game is going to be dynamite, and they've added more players. I'll add Oregon, and I'll add the Ohio State Buckeyes. Those will be my 4 teams playing for the new national championship trophy, which they just unveiled.
I'm going to say Auburn, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and I'm going to wrap it up with I'm gonna put LSU in there. So Auburn, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and LSU. I could see that being the top 4 finishers. If I had to pick a winner, I'm gonna go LSU this year.
I'll take Florida State again.
Yeah.
I can't bet against Jameis Winston right now. The way he lit it up last year, if he stays healthy, he has a chance to light it up again. Maybe be the first back-to-back Heisman winner ever.
You think so?
I mean, he's going to put up the stats, and this team is going to probably be undefeated. So,
well, he said during the offseason he wants to be looked at like Peyton Manning in college. So he's going to have to put up some numbers, and he's going to really have to get to passing that ball this year because last year he did a hell of a job. And sometimes it's hard to follow up a year that you had, especially like the year he had last year. So it's really going to take him stepping his game up and putting it on another level and putting that team on his shoulder and becoming a leader. And he seems to have that mentality. So we'll see where that goes.
And stop stealing those damn crab legs, boy.
I'm just saying. I mean, did you see the video when he stole the crab legs? He walked around the mall walked around Publix for like 2 hours before he took the leg.
And then 10 minutes later came back because he forgot the butter.
Wow. Forgot the butter, real Jameson? Forgot the butter?
Forgot the butter.
You couldn't go to your dorm roommate? I guess they got special crab butter. They must have got that good butter at Publix. Well, let's get into some more interesting topics. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit and talk about some of the crazy things that these people are talking about in the sports world that you don't see on ESPN and not too many people touch on. Michael Sam was involved in a scuffle at Rams practice.
Oh, no. Already fighting? Come on, Mike Sam.
Yeah. It's breaking news. Let's see. Okay. And organized team activities. OTAs. Let's see. After receiver Kenny Britt and cornerback Tremaine Johnson had been separated, Sam threw a forearm to the back of running back Isaiah P., who went to college at Texas Tech, while P was attempting to pass block Sam. Rams coach stopped practice and told his players to knock it off, but seemingly was encouraged by the extracurricular activity. Just let them know what we have. We have some rules we have to abide by, Fisher says. So Michael Sam's showing a little
nasty out there,
a little spunk out there. Even at the combine, he seemed to have a little attitude problem. He don't like when you get in his business, obviously. Yeah.
Well, don't put it out there for us to be in. This just proves they can lengthen the NFL season because OTAs are way too damn long. These players going after each other. You get tired of hitting each other. You get pissed off at somebody that you've been hitting every day. So it's going to happen. Let's lengthen the NFL season.
Exactly. And Bernard Pollard, the safety for the Tennessee Titans, had the nerve to come out and say that the Denver Broncos, during one of their games last year, they turned off the hot water. They didn't give us no hot water, man.
No hot water.
They turned off the hot water on us. They couldn't take a shower. The hot water is perfectly working before the game, but I guess they lost, apparently. So I think you'd be wanting to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. But apparently Bernard Pollard liked his hot showers.
I guess. I mean, if I was the Denver Broncos franchise, I could care less. You wouldn't even have any water in the visiting locker room. It'd just be the sanitation bottles. You better get you a couple pumps and put them on your skin and get the hell out of my locker room. What's wrong with you?
It could be worse. I mean, you could have no what AC or whatsoever that they did in the Boston Gardens. They didn't have any like heat or anything in there. It's like
what they did in San Antonio this year,
or they did in San Antonio. What they did or whatever they didn't do, but
what
obviously
they claim happened anyway.
They had a snake in the locker room. So it could be worse things, Bernard, than hot water not being available during your post-game showers.
This just goes to show, hey, if you visiting in Denver and you playing the Broncos, don't expect any hot water.
And on other football news, you got the Cleveland Browns are going to have a live mascot out at their next game. I mean, at their games this year. I guess everybody's trying to ride the Cleveland momentum. They're going to have a bull mastiff, which will be named Swagger B. You're going to name him Swagger B, huh?
My question is, I've had this question for years. What the hell is a Cleveland Brown?
I guess it's a dog. From the things I'm seeing, I got the big bull mastiff face. I guess it's a big brown dog. I don't know what the heck is a brown.
I'm gonna have to Google search that one. I'll have an answer.
Yeah,
soon.
they got the dog pound there, so I guess they just ran. That's their thing. They just go with the dog pound. And the last thing I'm gonna talk about is Mrs. Onana. What's her name? Rihanna. Yes. Apparently, she was out there at the World Cup too with Monsieur LeBron James and Kobe Bean Bryant and all those celebrities attending, and she tend to be real fond of the German team. In a picture I have here, you see her holding the World Cup.
Man,
it has two German players kissing her on both cheeks.
I see the bottom shot where she got her shirt up too.
The German players were Lucas Podolski and Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Man,
Schweinsteiger.
I guess that was the best moment of their lives. Let me put my lips on Rihanna. I ain't mad at you.
Yeah, so I don't know what else went through, but I'm pretty sure they had an interesting night, and if I had anything to do with it, I'm going to be singing Ooh Nah Nah.
Ooh Nah Nah, what's my name?
Yeah, so that's all I got with some of this crazy folly football news and all that stuff that goes on in the world that we never get to hear.
Come Deebo. Who? Deebo.
There it is. The music is in the building. Deebo Award time.
And I love it.
The award that recognizes top performances of last week. Joe, who's getting your Deebo this week, sir?
Okay, well, Bobby assumed that I was going to give my Deebo Award to Germany because I predicted them to win.
Congratulations
the World Cup.
on that, by the way.
But no, I'm not going to give my Deebo Award to Germany because everyone knows there's a Deebo throughout this whole tournament, especially how they beasted Brazil.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my Deebo Award to Monsieur Rodney Hood of the Utah Jazz. This past, 2 days ago, Rodney went off. You would think if any Duke player was to go off this past weekend, it would be Jabari Parker. Mm-hmm. But Rodney came, showed up, and showed out, shooting 7 for 10 from three-point range.
Wow.
And putting up 29 points in his pro NBA Summer League debut. If you can continue to play like this, hey, Rodney Hood, more power to you.
He can stay out of the hood as long as he put numbers like that. And my Deebo goes to Eugenus Cespedes. Last night, crushed Todd Frazier in the finals of the Home Run Derby, 9-1. In 5 attempts at the plate for Todd Frazier, he hit a total of 11 home runs. Eugenus Cespedes hit 9 home runs alone in the final round.
Wow.
So Eugenus Cespedes was crushing stuff. He had one point during the final round where he hit like 4 in a row in the upper deck. This is a back-to-back Home Run Derby champion for him. It's the first time since Ken Griffey Jr. to do it. The American League is bad, man. They got all the great bats. And of course, where there are Deebo Awards, there are Zero Awards. Just the ass clowns that just didn't quite measure up. So Joe's getting a 0 from you this
All right,
week, sir.
I'm gonna take a page out your book, and I got to give it to the whole organization. It's so funny. Not Bobby. Paul had brought this up earlier, and he was talking about one of my friends. He's a big Lakers fan. When Luau Deng got signed, I was like, yeah, so we're still here. We're not going anywhere. You know, we're still relevant. It's off season. We're making our moves. What about you, Lakers? So this is what his response was. It's the off season. All right. It's the off season. I said, dudes talk about it's the off season like they haven't been in the off season since April. What are you talking about, man?
The Lakers have been in the offseason since December.
They've been in the off season since freaking March of last year.
They still don't have a head coach out there in La La Land. What is going on?
For that reason in itself, that it seems to be 4 months past, these guys have not decided on a head coach and have yet to sign one free agent relevant to making that team any remnants of better.
Hey, they got Jeremy Lin.
Oh, okay. Mr. Short Bus and LA Lakers, you get my 0 to war. That's all I got to say. His name's not Jim Bus, no more Short Bus.
Short Bus. Wow, how to follow that? Brazil. I'm sorry. I know y'all were down Neymar and you were down Thiago Silva against Germany, but to lose your last 2 matches a total of 10-1 and allowing a team to score a touchdown on you in soccer in your home stadium, dog. That sounds like some 0 stuff to me. So Brazil, congratulations.
Give it to him.
Give it to him. That's the show this week. You can always catch audio episodes on Spreaker.com. Check our video out on the SHOKhouz at YouTube. And always follow us on Twitter at The Mouth of the South, at Robertson T. Bobby. For my executive producer, Mr. Paul Steen.
Yes, sir.
I'm Big Shot Bob Robertson saying goodbye for D-Mod. Until next time, peace.